Hello. It's Emma Holmes coming live from Rockstar HQ. I've changed location. I'm in the living room. And I'm joined by the lovely, wrong way, Emma, that way, Vicky Stanton. Hi, Vicky.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Emma.
How are you, Mrs.?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. So I'll give everyone a moment to join us. And Vicky is a success coach. Vicky is all about empowering you to be able to take action in your business, to be able to get out of your own way, to be able to do the stuff that you have the potential to do, but might not be unleashing right now. She's very, very good at planning an organisation. She's a girl guide, don't you know?
I am.
And therefore, I know it's the scouts that say that they're always prepared, but I think the girl guides are too, aren't they?
No, we do be prepared.
And you are also a networking ninja.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? I'm gonna capitalise on that then. Thanks. I'll have that.
That one. Have that one. That one's on me. Networking ninja.
Thanks very much.
So everybody's coming on board now. Come on in and say hello. Let us know who's around. We've got Anita's there. Straight off, we've got Michelle. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, ladies.
So, Vicky, you birthed around this time last year.
I did.
A planner.
I did.
Would you like to tell us a little bit about how long that had been sat on your to-do list, why it was sat on your to-do list,
Yeah,
and a bit of the adventure behind actually creating that and bringing it into reality?
yeah, because it was quite fun actually. So yeah, it's been on my to-do list probably for I reckon about 3 years. And it come about because when I was in corporate land, I'd really struggled because of the job I had to always be planned and organised and get all the stuff done that was on my to-do list. And I think probably in those days was like a lot of other people had this massive to-do list and never really got through it. And actually, well, you can't. So just now everybody stop trying because you're never going to do it anyway. So I decided that I was going to try and find myself a planning tool that would help me be more productive, get more stuff done really. And I tried all sorts of different planners. I tried, from mentioning, loads of names really. So Filofax, and probably was, that was my way that I like to work. And so I thought, well, maybe now I'd got my own business, maybe I should look to do my own. And that was as far as it went, because then that little voice said, oh, you can't do that. What do you know about publishing books and creating stuff? So 3 years, I reckon, it sat on my list. And then I thought, do you know what? I could probably do something. And it happened at a networking meeting. So I'd got some thoughts, met a lady at a networking event who was waving around a notebook that she printed on. And so I had a chat with her because I thought I could probably use this in my coaching business. That'd be really cool. And then I just went, so I'd really like to design a planner. Is that something you could help me with then? Or like all that inside stuff? She went, yeah. And am I allowed to swear?
Yes.
I went, shit, that means I've got to do it now then. Because that was my limiting belief. That was my barrier. I didn't know how to go about it. So I met this awesome lady, Sandra, who then we started to, I'd got a real clear idea of what I wanted inside it. She then was able to put it into the right format for those printer types. And then we set off on our really interesting journey together in terms of, well, how do we go about getting it printed and bound? Now, I thought you went along to a printer and a printer did it all for you. Not what happens. No. Particularly not, because I wanted mine to be stitch bound. So that means it lies flat on the desk like this. It means it's sewed, so it's not glued into the backing. See, I know loads of stuff now about printing and book binding. And so we went along to various printers who were just unreal, unbelievable. Talk about how to turn customers away. One guy said to me, oh, you don't want to do that. I said, do you not? No, you don't want to do that because I've seen loads of people come with that sort of idea and it's really silly. I know, okay. And no, he said, so you don't want to do that because, well, it's going to cost you a lot to do it. And there's only 2 people in the country that can bookbind. Goodbye. That's what I say. So I came away, and I suppose my resolve was like, yeah, right, I'm going to do this. You told me I can't, I'm going to.
Best motivation in the world.
Absolutely. So I gradually sort of went on a bit of a journey then to find a bookbinder. I found a guy just up the road, but he did really specialist bookbinding, like old family Bible type bookbinding, but dead expensive for me to run lots and lots. So he then put me in touch with a printer, who then put me in touch with a bookbinder. Well, no, actually, he was going to use the bookbinder, and I thought, well, I could probably ring him direct. So I did that. I went all brave and rang him. And he then put me in touch with some better printers. So I think for me, the moral of my little story there is actually just keep going. If you believe you're going to do something, just keep going with it. Don't accept no. And, you know, even if people tell you things aren't quite what they seem, they probably aren't actually. And go and find out for yourself. I think that would be my other thing.
Yeah.
So I had a brilliant journey. Some of it was hilarious because people were just telling me rubbish.
Yeah.
And then I got it printed. I went and spent with Sandra best part of 4 hours at the printers, proofing everything. They were then all produced and bound, and then they'd managed to double print a page. So I rang them and said there's a bit of a problem, and they put it right. They had them all back. Well, those that I hadn't sold, those that I had sold, I was then like, really, oh my word, my integrity now is going to be called into question. I've sent out this product, people have paid me money for it. So I sent them the right page and just suggested they did a bit of cutting and sticking, and everybody was so lovely. So I think, you know, another lesson I learned was actually just be brave, be honest, tell people what's happened. Most people won't care.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's how it happened, really.
Why didn't any of the planners fit you? What is it that you brought together that really worked for you? What made it different for you?
I think I probably pulled the next 3 months ahead. Then having this sort of huge to-do list, but at the beginning of the month. So actually, you each day then just take off 1 or 2 things from that list to get done in that day.
Yeah.
And focusing on that most important thing. So focusing on the most important task that actually is going to take you that step towards your goal. And that is massive. I think for me, that is probably the thing that is the thing that really works. And so my pages then had a space for your most important task at the top. It's got a tiny space for the things you're going to do today, phone calls you're going to do, and any personal stuff, because we all have a personal life, don't we, in business?
Yeah.
A space for writing some notes about, you know, often I want to just make a note that I've spoken to such and such today, or I need to remember to do such and such on that day. So it's having a space and a space just to reflect on what's really gone great for today. And then at the end of the month, a page of reflective questions. Actually, what's gone really well this month? What am I going to do better next month? What stopped me doing what I needed to do this month? And then the same at the end of each quarter. So it was pulling together really all that stuff that I know works. So not only in a day-to-day planning perspective, but in a month-to-month, year-to-year plan as well.
Yeah. And I think that what's interesting is that, you know, obviously planning is one of your things on the bit that, you know, that's been brought together with the planner. What would be your kind of top tips when it comes to, I know everybody uses the expression, I want to get organised. What would be your top tips for people who are in that space of, I really need to get organised, I want to get organised?
I think probably 2 or 3 things. So I think the first thing, and I shared this the other day with some people who just went, oh, this is the best amazing thing ever, and it's not. It's literally get a piece of paper and sit down and write down everything that's going on in your head, everything, and then write some more. So it's like actually start off, because when our head is buzzing with all that stuff, we can't be really clear on what we want to do. So that's sort of everything. That's business stuff, home life, jobs you've got to do, stuff you know you've actually got to do that you do by automatic rote really, but it's still in there cluttering up your head. Somebody's birthday, post a card, fill in a form, whatever it is, write it on a piece of paper, and then sit down and go through that list and go, actually, I don't need to do all of this. This is rubbish. Get rid of that. That's stuff I can pass to somebody else to do if you've got a really willing helper somewhere. And this stuff actually is the stuff that is going to make me achieve what I want to achieve. And it's that list then that you need to concentrate on. But then, you know, if you might have a really big high level task. So for me, like when I said I'm going to produce a planner, well, that's got huge things, huge steps in it. No, that's not right. Huge task, lots of little steps in it. And I think then it's about breaking down the big task into small bits. It's like that eat the elephant thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, how do you eat your elephant? A bit at a time. That's how you manage a big project, really.
Yeah.
And then I think it's about time blocking. So I'm a real advocate of time blocking. So everything has a deadline, because there is Parkinson's law, I think he's in Parkinson, who said that we will, a task will take as long as the time available.
Yeah.
And actually it's not. It could be a half an hour task that takes us all day. But actually, if you set yourself a deadline, most of the time you will achieve it in that deadline. So I think that's probably sort of get everything out of your head, break your task down into smaller chunks, and then plan those smaller chunks into each day in a deadlined block. And I think the other thing is emails and telephone calls, have them in a block too, so that you're not ruled by your email system, because it just distracts and takes away from the important stuff. And notifications. Yeah. I've got something pinging in the background here. I don't know what it is. Might be Facebook. I'm going to turn it off. Put it on with your link.
A bit of a slave to notifications, don't we, and things, and emails and phone calls, and excuse me, if we allow it, it totally eats our productivity.
It does. And I think because we're all generally nosy, aren't we?
Yeah.
Actually, I think we're all really nosy, and I think we just think, oh, something's happening. Let me see what's happening for the lunch. Like, why? Who cares, really? But we do. I think we all want to be nosy and look at what everybody else is doing, because it's probably much more interesting than the thing that we're supposed to be doing.
It's the fear of missing out, isn't it?
It is, yeah, absolutely.
So the first one that you said there was about getting it all out of your head. So essentially that's about gaining clarity of the tasks in hand. What would you suggest if that feels completely overwhelming once you've got it all out on that bit of paper?
Well, I think it is actually putting it to one side for a bit and not going, oh my God, now I've got this huge, great big long list of pages and pages and pages. Somebody who I once did some work with, who introduced me to this brain dumping technique, suggested that you should have at least 50 things on it. Well, I started off with about 6 and then carried on, because it's a bit like just keep going. Yeah. And 50 things on a list is quite phasing, isn't it? I think it's huge. So I think then it's about, right, just put it to one side for a few minutes, then come back to it, but actually then take out of it stuff that really is not going to move you anyway towards any goal that you've got. Get rid of anything, like I said earlier, anything that you can give to somebody else to do, or stuff that is really the mundane stuff. Because you might have put, I've got to cook tea, which people might think seriously. Yeah, but you can write that on because it's in your head. But actually then it's like, right, well, I know I've got to do that, so take it off the list. And then gradually move that list then into a list of proper stuff. Proper stuff that actually you can do something about. Because actually you might have things on that list that are things that you have no control over, things that have happened and you can't do anything about.
Yeah. Are you waiting for feedback or not? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think there's sort of the list of stuff that you have no control over and can't do anything about, get rid of those. The things that you're waiting for feedback or somebody to come back to you on, put them on a separate list, of a waiting to hear from type list.
Yeah.
Things that are for other people, put them on a separate list. And then you'll be ending up with a list that is your list, the things that only you can do. And I think then it's almost then looking at as a business owner, as and when funds allow, because I get it, everybody tells us, don't they, outsource everything. Well, yeah, but I haven't got any money. So, but once you've got a small amount of money, I think the first thing I do, apart from getting an accountant, is using VA.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
To do that admin stuff. And then I think gradually as your business grows, it's looking at what is the thing or the things in my business that only I can do.
Yes.
So there's loads of stuff that we can then give to somebody else who actually it's their thing.
Yeah.
And it will take them half as long as it takes us to do. It might be a bookkeeper, might be somebody who does social media marketing, could be anybody.
Yeah.
But to give it away as and when you can, and then you can concentrate on doing the stuff that only you can do. That is the ultimate top tip, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. And
really.
When I do lists like that, I go through with a highlighter.
Yes.
To where are these things got to go? What needs my attention? What doesn't? So I get all of my highlighters out and go through and just attack the list with a highlighter system to start to move them off.
Yeah, and I think it's whatever works for you, isn't it? I think it's always like, I like working in colours.
Yeah.
I have different colours for different things, but other people are a bit like, no, I just need one pen and I'm just going to either write at the side of it where it needs to go or just cross it off. So I think you've got to find your own system.
Absolutely. There's nothing more cathartic, though, is there, than crossing things off a list?
No, it's awesome.
There is just no better feeling in the whole wide world than crossing things off the list.
I think it's because we think, well, we've achieved something now. I can cross it off. I've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's awesome, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. How do you encourage yourself to do the jobs that you don't want to do?
I do them first often. And I say that because actually those jobs that look to be really difficult or look to be really hard, or the ones that you've got to sit and think about, are actually probably the most important thing you've got to do in your business.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore it becomes your most important task. Yeah. And it's a bit like Brian Tracy's Eat That Frog book. Tiny little book. If you haven't read it, everybody read it. And it is about the analogy of having a really nice, fresh, juicy frog, which is a horrible job, because really you don't want to eat a frog anyway. But it is better to eat a frog when it's juicy and plump and fresh than by the time it's sat and gone all manky and mouldy and slimy and pestering. You see? Yeah. So it is like, actually do that job first, even before you've looked at your email, even before you've looked at Facebook. Imagine. But it works. And I think it is getting that job, the list first off, because actually that's an awesome thing then. It's a really important job and it's a job you don't want to do and it's gone for the day. Fab. I don't always do it though. I don't always do it. Sometimes. No. Sometimes it sits there for a day or two.
Yeah, and I think it's that thing in that, sometimes you'll have it all together. Yeah. Other times you won't. And it's totally fine. Yeah, as long as it's not distracting you or getting in your way or taking up your headspace or stifling your creativity, which often these things can do, that are the pain in the bum job, the equivalent of, get your accounts up to date, which I should have been doing today, but I'm talking to everybody.
Do it tomorrow. Put it on your list, do it tomorrow.
Yeah, nothing's spoiling for the sake of it. So when you are looking on a day-to-day basis, how reliant are you on your planner? Do you use online tools as well, or are you all in your planner paper-based, written down, focused?
I am just thinking if I do use any online tools. No, not really. I think the only thing I use electronically is the little flag on my email system. Just for I need to deal with that, or this is the email that I have now referred to in my planner. So I am pretty much a paper-based girl. So I have my planner open, I have my stuff written in it, and I tick it off as I go.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
if somebody is quite chaotic,
Yeah.
they're going to write it all down.
Yeah.
They're going to start to pull out the stuff that they need to do, or that's urgent, or that'll make progress. And then they're going to schedule time in for it.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to make it a habit.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, isn't it? It's that consistent approach to it.
Yeah.
You mentioned there about emails. How do you survive from productivity kind of basis, of a planning kind of basis, with an inbox that flows freely, an inbox that Niagara Falls?
Well, I think the trick is you need to manage it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's laughing now. And my aim, very seriously, and it's not at the moment at 0, but my aim is every day to have my inbox at 0.
Mm-hmm.
And people then go, seriously, that isn't possible. Well, no, it is possible. And the analogy that I use is that your inbox is like your doormat. Mm-hmm. So when the postman brings proper letters, puts them through the letterbox, and they land on the doormat, we go and pick them up, don't we? And then we open them.
Most of the time.
And that is your inbox. So your inbox is like your doormat, and then you've opened your mail. Yeah. And then actually what we don't do is we don't open the door again and chuck it back on the doormat.
We definitely don't do
that.
that.
I don't do that. People might who are listening, but I don't do that. And I think that is sort of where the analogy is. And then it's sort of we actually spend, if we've got a chaotic inbox, we spend so much time scrolling up and down looking for the thing that we know might be in there, or have we actually missed something because it might be in there, or I'm sure somebody might have sent it me back by now and we've no idea. And it causes like a real feeling of stress and frustration and panic half the time, doesn't it? And so the way that I like to work, and like I said, it isn't all the time, because if I'm out the office for 2 days, I have to deal with it on my phone, so I'm checking on my phone what's in my inbox. But then I have to put some time in my diary to actually make sure that I work through the system. So I set up at the top of my emails 3 boxes, which are now I'm going to tell you, and my brain's gone blank now. So at action, so with the at sign, because then they sit at the top of, certainly with Internet Explorer. I don't know how it works in email, but with an at sign, and then they'll sit at the top of the inbox. So at action, at waiting, and at reading. And then I've got a series of folders for things to do with my clients or people's stuff that I need to keep hold of. And then right at the very bottom, I've got a set of folders for people's stuff that comes in that I quite like to read now and again, but I don't read it all the time. Mm-hmm. And then the rule is, when you open an email, if you can deal with it in 2 minutes or less, deal with it and get rid of it. Mm. If it's going to take you more than 2 minutes, it goes in the at action box, because you're going to come back to that in a bit. Mm-hmm. If it's something you just want to read in a bit, you'll put it in the at reading box. And if it's something that you have responded to and you're now waiting for me to come back on it, you put it in the at waiting folder. And then you just check your at action folder, once or twice a day, deal with what you need to deal with. And that way it stops that feeling of massive overwhelm.
Yes.
Of thousands of emails.
Yes. And we talked about that.
I know some people listening to this have got on their list mentioning.
Yeah, we spoke about this, about the thousands and thousands of emails in an inbox.
Yeah.
And it quite frankly makes you feel a little bit sick, doesn't it?
I mean, it's horrible, isn't it? It's horrible. So I think it's, even if you could have got 20 in there, that's a much better look than 4,579 or whatever. Yeah.
Totally. It's probably more than that now. Not me.
Could be.
Not me.
No. Oh, look, Kathy Payne. I have zillions. Kathy Payne, sort it out.
Yeah.
Get it to 0.
Yeah, I think it's another one of them things. It's like ticking stuff off a list. It is really, really cathartic to have a clean inbox.
It is, yeah. But it takes, and it's a bit like, it's that mountain and molehill thing. I think it's like a massive mountain to get it sorted, and put yourself, 2 or 3 hours in your diary to do it.
Yeah.
And then when you've done it, it's just like maintaining the molehill. So even though I've not been in the office, but I've not been in the office for 2 days, so I've got about 60, I think, in my inbox, and it's like, right, but I just need to sort that.
Yeah.
And 60 is so much easier than zillions, isn't it?
Totally.
Really?
Totally.
Yeah. So
are you scheduling in time in your diary to deal with them?
Yeah. So I've got a session in my diary tomorrow afternoon.
Right. So you'll get to them and work through them.
Yeah.
Would you do that usually once a day, twice a day? What would your normal routine on that be?
Twice a day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, so I think it's almost that, now sometimes I do it first thing. Sometimes I'll switch on and have a look at what emails are there. Sometimes I'll do my most important thing first and then look at my emails, and then probably either later in the afternoon. Because realistically, in the world of HR and coaching, if it's an emergency, somebody will ring me. So I know realistically there's not going to be an email in my inbox that's a massive urgency. But now, I need to do it now.
Yeah. Do you ever suffer from the replying to things in your head?
Oh, yeah, frequently.
Good.
I do that. I thought I'd replied to that. I'm sure I did.
I do that all the time. It's one of them that it's like, I'm sure I did that. I'm sure I did.
Yeah, well, it's like that email message you sent me yesterday. I could have sworn I'd replied. I did in my head. I don't think I did. Yeah, but that's okay, isn't it?
Totally okay. We all do it. We absolutely all do it. And there's a good moral, a good takeaway from that is that don't presume that people are, not responding to you. Always do the, did you see this?
Yeah.
Rather than the, oh my God, they're not responding to me. They must hate me. It must, and it all suddenly be real.
I sometimes think, why haven't they replied? And then I'll go and check that I did actually send them an email. And then go, I don't seem to. So then I have to reply and say, I'm really sorry. I thought I'd replied to this. I put it down to my age now.
Well, I'm still the same.
Yeah. It's because we're busy.
Yeah, let's go with busy rather than age.
Yeah. And I think, sometimes I think that sort of honesty element is really important. It's certainly really important to me. And I just think, most of us, if we just go, I'm really sorry, I thought I'd done this and I didn't, or I'm really sorry, I've made a cock up. I think people just go, fine.
Absolutely.
Don't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah. As long as you go, do you know what? I messed up. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
I want to bring in your guiding. So tonight is guides night, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is.
What do you think guiding has brought to you that you use in business?
Wow. Lots of things, I think. I think probably, so I've been in guiding since I was 7. Because there were no such rainbows when I was a little dinky person. And I think it's given me a massive self-confidence. I think it's given me the ability to work with other people. I think it's given me the ability to plan, be creative, because you have to be creative. But I think also it's sort of when I've reflected on it, it's given me quite a lot of business skills. So, as a guider, I have to do my unit account. We're governed by the Charity Commission, so you can't just shove it in a tin and hope for the best. You have to produce accounts every year. And that's literally in and out stuff. There's nothing more complicated, really. It's just literally what's come in and what's gone out and a balance sheet at the end of the year. So it's not like having to do company accounts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then, sort of actually things like record keeping, managing people's details safely and securely, but also that, managing sort of girls coming through the system. So I don't know quite what I align that to in business, but that's just general organisation stuff, really, I think. Actually just being organised in terms of what I need to do, who needs to know stuff,
Mm-hmm.
getting information from people. So that sort of general organising, and then effectively planning, because of course we plan girls termly, so every quarter, every third of a year, 3 terms, so every third of a year we plan. You know, we talk to the girls, so we get some of their ideas. We then plan so that we know exactly what we're doing week in and week out. There are 4 of us who run my guide unit, so it's making sure that we each know what we're all doing. But I think that helps when you've got people working in your business with you, so VA, accountant, marketing folks, people helping you with your social media, your branding, all that sort of thing. Making sure that, you know, if we need to do such and such by that date, well, by that date, I need to have done all these other things.
Yes.
So I think a lot of sort of general day-to-day skills, really. But then I suppose the biggest thing for me is having fun, and I have fun in my business. Yeah. And there's no point in doing it, is there, if we're having a miserable time?
Totally. Absolutely.
You know. So I think there's a lot, really. That it teaches, and it teaches young people stuff. As I think, you know, it teaches young people lots of stuff that they perhaps don't go on to use in business, but will go on to use
in life generally. Absolutely. You know, I think there's some amazing life skills to be had. My 2 both are in scouting, but the phenomenal life skills and opportunities and things that we just wouldn't even think of doing with them, let alone be in a position to. You know, doors open for them within that movement. I think that's phenomenal. And I think the big thing that you're saying there is communication and collaboration, isn't it?
Mm.
So they're the biggest takeouts for you, to work collectively, be able to work together, managing expectations and communicating what everybody should be doing and where they should be. You know, it's massive life skills, it's massive business skills.
It is. And I think, you know, then sort of the bit that probably is what I do professionally in my business, but, you know, almost that, you know, I think a lot of young people have a lot of head chatter that tells them they can't do stuff, they'll be no good at stuff, they're rubbish at this, they're too fat, they're whatever it is. And it's almost having that ability to go, actually, let's just stop a minute. That's utter rubbish. I mean, I wouldn't say it in that sense, but, you know, you sort of say to them that, you know, where's that come from? Who says you can't do that? You know, so for me, it's about empowering those young women to believe they can be, do and have everything they want. And that's just awesome, really.
It is. It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. And, you know, we have a little Facebook group for our scouting group. And I wrote in there, and, you know, I know that it probably feels like a lot of the time an absolutely thankless task, and that the paperwork does your head in, and that, you know, it's a big, you know, volunteering for something like that is a big commitment. You know, you're committed to being there every week, every Monday. Your time freely to that. And, you know, I take my hats off to all of you leaders, and, you know, the fact that you give our children these opportunities and open the doors for them. It's phenomenal. It really is. And I'm going to thank you on behalf of everybody right now.
Oh, thanks, Emma. But I love it. And I think for me, it's about giving back. You know, I had a lot of opportunities and a lot of stuff. I don't even know what the word is when I was a young person, and I think this is just a way of giving back, really.
But it's a real big-hearted way of giving back.
Well,
you know, it would have been easy to pop a donation in, or to, you know.
Well, it probably would have been. I've been buying cupcakes this morning. Because, you see, I'll let you into a secret then, because I was supposed to order something for this week and forgot. Well, it was my birthday, wasn't it? And I was really...
Yeah, it was your birthday.
Taking out for dinner and stuff last week. And I suddenly went, oh, flip. I forgot that. But it's okay, because we've got a competition running in our bigger division. And actually, we hadn't got a space to put it in. So I've decided we're going to do it tonight. So it's to design a cupcake for Christmas. So I know it's a little early, but hey. So I've been and bought cakes and icing and colouring, Rockstars and balls and things.
You just take them out of the wrapper. You can pass them off as your own.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do, couldn't I? So I've baked these girls for you to decorate.
Yeah.
I don't think that'd be
License. So I want to move on to networking.
Oh yeah, I do a bit of that as well.
Yeah, and it's been part of your business for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit about kind of your networking backstory before we get to where you are now.
Okay, so well, I think probably like a lot of us as business owners, somebody goes, "Oh, you should network."
Mhm.
What you should do, you should go and do some networking, and probably a lot of us, without being disparaging to any network, has an invitation to one that is quite structured, quite serious, and a huge time and money investment.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes, and it absolutely works for a lot of businesses. So I'm not decrying it, but I think that's probably the experience that most of us have of networking.
Yes.
And for some of us, it's quite frightening.
Yes.
It was quite frightening to me. And it was a huge investment as a brand new business owner as well. And so I thought, well, I can't do that then. I can't do networking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found some other networking, which was much more laid back. It wasn't quite so structured. And gradually thought, actually, I quite like this because I'm meeting with not all like-minded business owners, but I'm meeting some business owners who are helping me in my business. They're giving me some tips. They're nice people. I'm going and spending some time with them because actually being on my own in my business is quite lonely.
Mm-hmm.
So it's quite nice to go meet the same folks or some of the same folks every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Quite like it. And then I started to get a bit of business. Oh, hello, this is quite good. And then I sort of thought, right, well, maybe I need to go and find some other networking to do. So gradually started to belong to a variety of different networks.
Mm-hmm.
So I then sort of towards the end of my, well, I still network now, but I belong to a very small local network, mixed, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
I belong to a big national network where I could go for my membership fee anywhere in the country. And it didn't have any sort of lockout seat. So it was like, several of us doing the same thing could all turn up. That was okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also went and joined a ladies' network, which was a lockout seat. So it was like only one in the room, same profession.
Mm-hmm.
And through networking, I've made some awesome business friends. In fact, they're probably more than business friends. They are now proper friends.
Yeah.
And are incredibly supportive. And I would like to think that goes both ways, really. So I think for me, it was sort of, I would recommend everybody does some networking, but to try several before you rule things out or decide where you're going to invest your money. Mm-hmm. And actually those that have required some investment in either my time regularly or financially have actually brought me better reward. Mm-hmm. I think. Yeah. And avoid those that just shove business cards at you.
Yeah.
I think for me, networking is very much a long game. It's actually, you've got to go in there, you've got to build the relationships, you've got to build the rapport with people, get people to know you and like and trust you, which is sort of the mantra of all networking, really.
Yeah.
And it is a really powerful means of getting business, because actually referral is the best way to get business, really, because it means that somebody's used you, your service is your thing, and you said to somebody else, you need to talk to them about that thing because it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think the only way you can do that is to build that rapport. I think you can do it online as well to an extent. There's quite a lot of groups out and about, and I think that happens. One of like your online groups I think are a form of networking, really, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Because people start to get to know each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's invaluable.
Mm-hmm. So if I was a network phobe, scared to the back teeth of,
Yeah.
What would be your top tips to get me started and out there?
So I would say, if you're going to go to a group, get there early, not too early, so not like before it starts massively, because otherwise you're going to be standing there on your own looking a bit like Billy No Mates and feeling awful. But getting there early enough so that actually you are one of the first in the room, because actually it's much easier for people then who are much more familiar to come in and talk to you than you have to go and break into a room of people you don't know who they are.
That's really interesting, because from a psychological perspective, if you are first in the room, people will gravitate to come and walk over to you and talk to you. Whereas if you're coming in as a stranger midway through while people are already in conversation, it's really hard, isn't it?
It is hard. Yeah, absolutely. And I think then it's about preparing yourself for what you want and hoping to get out of it. Mm-hmm. So actually having a reason for being there. Mm-hmm. Now, most people, if we're very honest, will be there because we want business, but mm-hmm. that is not going to happen on that first meeting.
No.
So I think it's about going and seeing if you like the feel of the group, if there are some people in there that you feel a natural connection with, you actually like some of the people in the room. You don't have to like everybody on that first meeting. But I think it's about that, just starting to feel your feet. Because in the world of networking, there are what we call networking butterflies who float into one group and go, oh, there's nobody here that I like, or I don't think I'm going to sell them anything, so I'll go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the wrong way to look at it, because it's about building relationships.
Yeah.
It's highly unlikely you're going to sell anything to anybody for the first, well, I don't know. I wouldn't even like to put a time limit on it. Some people have said, 12 months before they got work. Some people it's 6 months. I think it depends what you do as well, what you're selling, what your thing is. Because I think if it's a proper thing, people they're a bit more likely to have it. So I know a fabulous lady who sells candles.
Uh-huh.
And people are happy because it's a small investment and they can see the thing and they'll take it home and try it and love it and then have more. I think when you're investing in, like me, in terms of coaching, you've got to know and build that trust before you even start to explore, could I possibly, do I want to work with you? What do you know about anything, really?
Yeah. Karen says, what about networking if you're an introvert?
Wow. What does that mean? Now that for me is like, okay, if you're shy, but I think that is what I said at the beginning, get there early, because actually it's a bit like being late to the party, isn't it? When you walk into a party in a room full of people that you don't really know, it's really scary. And I think it's the same for networking. And I think then it's about being confident in your own business. Now, whether that's just a quietly confident, I don't mean this sort of overtly confident, but just knowing that you know your thing.
Yeah.
I think knowing that you're going and actually going with an intention. So actually the intention could be, I am going to make one really good connection in that room today.
Mm-hmm.
Really
just
simple.
have one conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Not that I've got to go and meet everybody in the room. I've got to get everybody's cards. I've got to sell something. Just really small, a really small thing. Mm-hmm. And if you've got to stand up and do a thing, a 60 seconds, 40 seconds turn. Yeah. Prepare it before you go. Have it in your pocket. Have it on a piece of paper and read it. It doesn't matter. Yeah. There is no rule about you have to know it, remember it. And I think it's almost a bit of that sort of, but be able to look up when you're talking. Mm-hmm. Don't do this thing like, I just stand here like this, but nobody can see me, because actually we like to engage with people's faces. So I think it's having some tools in your tool bag that even if you are really shy, mm-hmm. you know that you can be brave enough to just do those one or two things. Mm-hmm.
And I think
does that help, Karen? Does that answer Karen's question, do we think?
We'll see what she says. I think as well as it's don't be frightened to go off to the loo if you need 5 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't be frightened, because when you're quite introverted, it's a lot of it's about kind of that energy and feeling like everybody else is, and feeling a bit like rabbit in the headlights, and
Yeah.
Get overwhelmed by it all. And I think that most people feel like that when they first go into that kind of environment. And you know what?
Brilliant.
Okay to say to the person running it, actually, I'm a little bit frightened,
Yeah. Yeah.
a bit scared.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think also, there's sort of people who I know in networking groups who it's their very first time ever networking. They've never been before. And they actually stand up and go, this is my first time.
Yeah. I'm a virgin.
And actually, everybody is okay with that, because you know what? We've all been there for our first time. And I think so, it's almost remembering that we've all been to that very first networking meeting where we were really scared.
Yeah.
Or apprehensive. And I would say, I think slightly extroverted.
Mm-hmm.
But I still get nervous if I'm going into a room where I don't know anybody.
Yeah.
I still think, what if I stand up and sound really stupid?
Yeah.
During this conversation, it's like, well, I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh my word, what? But it's like, everybody's not going to like everything that I talk about. Everybody isn't going to like everything everybody else talks about. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it would be a very, very small business world, wouldn't it?
And the other thing, Karen, is knowing that, you don't like it, you don't have to go again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally fine. You don't have to go again. I did much more networking, like face-to-face networking in my corporate days than I do now. But I am speaking at a business event at Santander in November, and I'll have 20 free tickets for that one as well. So that's very exciting. So do you want to tell us a little bit about how you know so much more about networking now than you ever did?
Well, in May, very excitedly, I bought a franchise, which was very exciting. So I'd been a member of the Athena Ladies Network for 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was one of the networks that I came across and actually really liked it. And never really thought anything more about it, just carried on with my membership, going and doing my thing and meeting the ladies and sharing business and getting some business. And the lady who actually runs the Athena Network sent out an invitation to listen to a webinar about investing in buying a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I'll have a listen to that then. Not because actually I decided I was going to buy a franchise, just because I thought, something to do into it on a Tuesday evening for an hour.
Nosy.
And I think that was actually the reason I listened, because I thought, well, I've got a little bit of interest, but I'll just have a listen to see what it's all about. Because, like I said earlier, we are all generally nosy, and I thought, I'm going to see what, how much is this and how much is she getting off me. It was that sort of thing, I think, really. Yeah. But as she was talking, I was sort of thinking, actually, I think this is something I might be really interested in.
Yeah.
So I really love Athena. I really love networking. I also see it as a way of empowering women in business to be better.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, it also might be a really good avenue for me to get some more clients, because I can get in front of more people.
Yeah.
But that was a secondary thought, but it was really there.
Yeah, on the list.
So I did a lot of due diligence though. I spoke to a lot of people. I looked at the numbers really carefully, as anybody would do when you're buying a business. Because it's a business in a box, in effect, I suppose. And decided it was the right thing for me. So invested in the business. I actually took over an existing business, so I'd already got some groups running.
Yeah.
In some ways that gave me some additional challenges, because it was like taking over a job when the boss was still lurking. And I don't mean that rudely, she gave me loads of support, but it was that same sort of feeling, really, that I want to do my thing, but I'm conscious that she's still there.
Yeah, and you're going to be compared to.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when somebody didn't renew, it was, they don't like me. Ridiculous. Yeah. Stop it. Stop it. And actually, if they don't like me, it doesn't matter, because there'll be new people coming through who do like me, the way I'm running it. But as part of that process now, every month I have to deliver what we call our network strategy training. I have to now be the font of all knowledge about matters networking. And I don't have to do my research, and I have to learn my stuff before I go and deliver it. But I love it. And it sort of plays to my my strengths are standing up and chattering to folk a lot, really. It allows me to meet with my members, to support my members. And the thing that I love about networking now is that I've got a lot of people in my network, and it means that I can connect people to each other to help them to do business, to support them in their business. And that is just fab.
And you get lots of lunches.
Yeah, I have to eat a lot of salad though. Otherwise I'm just going to expand.
Not sandwiches.
But not sandwiches, no. People, I don't eat bread. We were having a hilarious conversation the other night. You had to be there.
Do you do morning networking?
I do, yeah.
What time?
8.
That's
I don't do anything much earlier than 8 o'clock. I don't do anything that requires me to be anywhere at like 5:45 in the morning, because that's just utterly ridiculous.
What is that about?
I don't know. I think they think, you see, that when you've done it, you can go off and have your full day at work. I'd be
Yay!
but no, I don't see any reason why I need to leave my house at 5:30 to get anywhere, really.
Other than the airport.
Yeah.
I only ever leave in my house at stupid o'clock to go to the airport.
Yeah, or for some other joyous occasion.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. Yeah. So, 7:30, 7:20, that's early enough, really, in my world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite early to have a face on.
It is really, and be all joyful and positive and upbeat and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, so I do morning networking 8 o'clock, and I do lunchtime networking. I don't like evening networking much, because that's my time when I'm at home doing my home stuff, and I don't be going out. I find it all a bit frustrating having to travel places and everybody else is going home. Really. Yeah, I don't Don't really like traffic much.
No, I'm not a traffic. Most self-employed people don't do traffic.
No. They
don't do rush hours.
No.
Would anybody like to ask us anything? Because we've got about 5 minutes left.
Wow.
Where does this time go?
That's not so fast, isn't it?
3:30, I can see people walking past on the school run, and I'm like, oh my God, where has the day gone?
Wow.
So it's just flown in a whiff-waff. Next, I've got the very gorgeous Anna Grace Taylor. So that's my next one at 3:45. So if you want to come back and join me for that, that would be fab.
And what are you talking to her about, Emma?
Anna is an angel's guidance, spiritual leader kind of lady. She is actually an angel. Kate and I spoke about her this morning, and she's so gorgeous and she's so lovely that I think that she is actually really an angel. Wow. So we're going to be talking to her next. So spirituality, angels, all of that good stuff is coming up next. So it's been a very diverse day, and I've loved that, because we've done all sorts of things. So yeah, it's been a really diverse day, and I've loved it so far. I might be exhausted by 9:45 tonight and not be able to speak tomorrow, but hey ho. Karen says, thanks for that, Vicky, really helpful. Fantastic.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
You are a little fountain of knowledge and information, and it's lovely to listen to you. Pauline said, good to see you, Vicky.
And you, Pauline.
Fab. Yeah, so if there isn't anything, we will call it a day and go and... I've got to keep it going because I've said it in every single one. Go for a wee, get me brew, and I've even got a frangipane for the next brew.
Have you?
That's what's going to keep me going in the next one.
That's nice, isn't it? Not a Battenberg cake.
No, a frangipane.
Right. Very nice.
Lovely. So I will let you get on and get ready for guides this evening. Hope your guides have a evening with their cakes. And thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And I will tag Vicky's page above the video once we've finished live, because it doesn't let me do it before. So I'm going to go and do that now, so that if anybody wants to go over and hang out with Vicky, then they are more than welcome. So thank you for your time, and I will speak to you all soon. Bye.
Bye.